but we are very pleased to announce our speaker for today, Jasmine Stringer. Jasmine is not only an Office Center great client, she's become one of my very good friends. We have shared some real discussions about our businesses and gotten to some real meat of the things, right, Amy? When we get together, we really solve a lot of the world's problems and a lot of our own problems as well. I'm really proud because Jasmine was named one of the 50 people that you should know in 2021. So all of you are getting an introduction to her. She's been recognized by Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine as one of the people to know. And guess what? We can all say now we know her. And she's going to tell us this morning why we need to get to know her and some of the things that she is going to tell us about our business and things this morning. With that, I'm going to turn over the screen to Will, who's going to give you the introduction and the brief information about what we're going to learn today and what our takeaways are. And Jasmine is giving a special prize to someone, is it one or two people that are in this session who are going to get to have some one-on-one time with her as well. So I'm so happy to have you here. This is another Office Center Presents. It's going to be a year-long of sessions of branding, and we invite you to come back time and time again. So with that, I'm handing it over to Will, and I'm gonna quiet, all right? Thank you all for coming.
All right, yeah, well, again, thank you to everybody, and welcome to PowerLunch. It's our monthly workshop that we do here at Office Centers. We do have our next month's PowerLunch speakers in the chat here with us, and we'll be talking about their stuff at the end. Today we have Jasmine Stringer speaking on what drives your brand. Jasmine is an enthusiastic and motivating speaker and lifestyle expert that uses creativity, kindness, and assertiveness to inspire others to live authentic, connected, and mindful lives with vision. And again, stick around to the end because one lucky member will be getting a special prize related to today's topic, which is a vision board experience. So stick around for that for sure. While Jasmine is speaking, I'd please like to ask everybody to keep your microphones muted. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. Any questions or comments, you can leave them in the chat box and I'll be monitoring those as we go along. At the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers with Jasmine, along with a couple other segments, and that's when we'll also be announcing the winner for today's Power Lunch. So again, thank you to everybody, and with that, I will hand the mic over to our speaker today, Jasmine.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna say, I believe it is officially good afternoon. I know we had a lot of good mornings when we first hopped on the line. I am so excited that the sun is shining, that the temperatures have risen. I don't know about anyone else, but I was suffering from what I coined had COVID effect disorder for the majority of February. You know, there's seasonal affect disorder that a lot of people in Minnesota experience with the winter, but and the lack of sunlight and just the frigid temperatures. But I think all of that, of the seasons, and then the fact that we are dealing with COVID and quarantine really put me in a different mood. So I am thrilled that the sun is shining. I'm even more excited that you have decided to join me and Office Centers today to talk about your vision and your brand. One of the things that I love, it's so funny, I love tambourines and you guys make me happy. And I'm starting with happiness jingles for your presence today and for this experience. And I really do that just to ground us in this moment. Sometimes I do some deep breathing, but I said, no, we're gonna be happy and we're gonna jingle and shake it in. So I'm gonna begin with, can I have the ability to share my screen, Will, please? Thank you. And while I'm getting those credentials, I wanna make sure that everybody has been able to access the handouts that were placed in the chat, the link to the handouts that were placed in the chat. If you could give a thumbs up or an emoji in your window, we would greatly appreciate that.
Jasmine, I accidentally made you the host. Could you just give me the co-host real quick?
Okay, let me stop what I'm doing. Okay, let's see.
Sorry about that.
Nope, I'm host, so I need to find. You are the green OffiCenters?
Green OffiCenters, yep.
You want me to make you host and then you make me co-host?
Just make me co-host and then that'll be. Yep, there you go. Perfect.
Gotta love technology. So here we are. So most of you know me, and we are going to be talking about really what drives your brand. I believe that everything we do begins and ends with our vision. I love to share my contact information right up front because I am a connector. That's one of my top 5 strengths. If you look at the Gallup strengths, before I did Gallup strengths, I never met a stranger. So it is true to who I am, and I encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn, where I'm Jasmine Stringer, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. I want to know you and I want to stay connected to you. You know, I like to say that really I am trying to help people live authentic lives, authentic, connected, and mindful lives with their vision serving as their North Star. It's kind of fitting that I live in Minnesota these days because, you know, we talk a lot about the North Star in this part of the world. And so I think of our vision as truly our North Star. So what is vision? Vision is the big picture of how you would like to live, what you want to be, what you want to see, what you want to experience. And a lot of times people only think about a vision when it pertains to maybe their professional career, especially when they're working for other people, or when it comes to their children and their families, the big picture that they hold for those people. But what is the vision for your brand? So at this time, I would like to ask everyone to share the name of their organization in the chat. And when you mention the name of your organization, put one descriptive word, one adjective to describe your vision for your brand. You know, the vision also serves as the final destination. I don't know about you, but I can't go anywhere without putting the address in the device on my phone. And sometimes I'm just going home, and I'm going home from a place I've been a million times, but I'm like, I just want to make sure that I am getting it right, or that I'm starting on the right path. So I always like to say, if you don't know where you're headed, then you'll take any road. If you don't know where you're headed with your business, with your goals, with the vision for your company, you will take any road. So you really need to be intentional and set intention statements on where and how you want to grow your business. Or perhaps you're like, I'm not trying to grow my business this year. I'm really nurturing the relationships, the accounts, the business that I already have. The decision on how you will evolve your business is up to you. I firmly believe that we start to create a vision for our lives and a vision for our businesses by examining and starting where we are, and more importantly, by starting with what we have. And so to that point, the most easy way for people that have not done this kind of work before is to start by leveraging their strengths. Amy, because I know you so well, and I know that you've kind of done a pivot in your business, would you talk about some of your strengths? Introduce yourself, talk about some of your strengths for working with your business and you.
Well, way to put me on the spot there, Jasmine. Yeah, you know, with branding, you really need to understand that pivoting, yes, we all had to very much pivot in 2020, but what we need to realize is we need to continue on pivoting always. we're always up leveling, we're always growing. And I definitely needed to pivot my product and my services and open up what I gave to my traditional clients and offer that as a separate service to those who maybe didn't necessarily need my physical product, but needed to have a different set of eyes, who really would look at their space and reimagine it through the eyes of their audience. Does that answer your question?
It does, but I think for some people, they might want to know, what exactly do you do with that?
Well, really, honing in and figuring out, like, what does your brand say about you, and how are we bringing that to life? Is it through unique backgrounds? Is it switching up your imagery? Is it, building really cool, props? Do you notice those two people in there by chance? We're human, and we see things visually first before we ever hear anything auditory. So that is really
That's
important.
where I wanted you to go, Amy, with visual, because that was your adjective in the chat. So
It was.
there we go. The visual is your strength, because that's what you said was the number one thing when people think of your business. Okay, I'm gonna go through the chat. One, tight knit. Eric.
All right, you got me with food in my mouth. So,
Oops.
so we're in the. I put family. It's hard to come up with a single word, but I guess at the end of the day, it's really what we are doing to try to preserve. It's really capturing, sharing, and preserving a family's story. We're in the business of preserving memories through collaborative storytelling. So it's a service, a web-based service we provide where families connect around private kitchen tables and look at using photographs to trigger memories and stories about what life was like back in the day. But at the end of the day, it's all about your family and making them stronger because they know who their people were and are. And hey, they had it a lot worse than I did. I'm going through right now, so I can go through this, So it's really about finding those kinds of strengths and passing those on to your children so that they can live a better life.
Thank you. I think you could also incorporate Peggy's word of legacy.
Absolutely. No, it's a great word.
And one more person, Chris, adwear specialist.
Hi.
Hi.
We didn't really give you one word. I guess we gave you a sentence, but we are a small promotional company that really helps small businesses brand themselves, whether it's workwear or gizmos and gadgets, websites, pop-up stores, you name it. We can help you and your small businesses kind of create an image for yourself.
So as I'm looking at your screen, how, and to Amy's earlier point, how are you achieving your vision in helping people brand their business? I don't see any branding of your business.
Right? I know I'm so busy working for everybody else. I hardly have time to do my own. We're looking at my messy office instead of our front showroom, but we do have our signage and so forth up there.
Right. But you see, when we follow up with what Judy taught us about our brand, last month, it all sinks in. It all comes to play when we think about our vision. It's not only the internal vision, but it's how are we displaying that vision too, that some might call branding, but it really has to be amplified to the outside also. Okay, I'm gonna go back to slides. If I can, I gave you, can I still share? Will? Yes. Well, we have our strengths, and I appreciate those of you that shared your strengths with us today. And thank you, Amy, for being on the model person. Sharing our strengths helps us collaboratively identify and discuss who's best suited to work on a given task based on talent, energy, and bandwidth. So when we share our strengths and focus on our strengths, we are putting, not only are we putting our best foot forward, but we're also being more efficient in how we work and how we show up. I love this quote by Audre Lorde. When I dare to be powerful, to use my strengths in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. And so one of the ways that we do this is, or that I like to help people think about their strengths, is through a process called vision boarding. Has anybody made a vision board before? You can, say yes in the chat. You can put your hands up. Oh, Will, I love that you've made a vision board before. But for those of you not familiar, a vision board, if you can see me in the little window, is a visual display collage of images, quotes, words depicting your goals and your desires. And for today's purposes, we're going to focus on our business and the strengths of our business. Science tells us that we naturally have this worst case scenario, and they call it the negativity bias, and the fact that we tend to focus on what's not working in our business, what we need to do more of, as opposed to what's strong. But science can guide us to a better way of really focusing on what's right with each of us, what we do best, and how we can bring more of that to life. And that's really what this process is about today. We all know that there are opportunities for us in our business, but what do we really do extremely well that serves as our niche or our expertise? And so when we think about this process, I believe that it provides an opportunity for you to develop clear understanding of your goals and objectives through direction and alignment, an opportunity to recharge, and then it's a tool that will serve as a daily reminder. So right now, we are going to stop. I'm going to stop sharing, but we're going to do page 2 in the workbook. So if you would go to that link again, and we can I'll put it down so that everybody has it in case they didn't get it earlier. Or Will, can you drop it just so that everybody has access to it? And we're going to do the central reflection exercise that will really get us to start to think about our strengths. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to skim it and put your first of mind answer in each of these questions, because sometimes we overthink things. And then you're going to go into breakout groups, and we have 26 people. So if we could do 4 groups of 4, and then we'll have 2 groups with 5 people in it. Then you'll have, let's say we'll do 10 minutes in the breakout room for you to speak to what resonated with you as you start to think about the strengths of your business and your brand. So we're going to have, right now we're at 11 minutes, but I'll give you a nice even number of 12 minutes. Okay, we have everyone back. Thank you. We're going to ask someone from each group to share their thoughts on what bubbled up. And so Robert was about to speak in the last room that I was, so I said I would give him this floor.
I have a virtual financial retirement planning business, and most people outline the process of this is how we go, but kind of was brought up in our group is people want to provide input and change the process, and I think it's about being confident enough to say, no, this is the process that we're going to use, and I think people appreciate that, but so many people want to vary from it through that. But I found that if I follow the process, then we're far more successful in helping our clients the way we should.
And so that's important when you think of your vision, is that it is a process oriented flow that you take people through for their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? I popped into the group Connie was in, and you guys were having a robust conversation that I didn't listen to. Anyone from your group want to share?
Go for it, Connie.
Okay, I was just going to say, I was looking for my mute button. So that was the question, where do I want to go professionally? And that one I actually found easy to answer. You've got some really good questions here, by the way, I've got to say. It really got me thinking. But I've been, in the past, I focused my business on a lot of more general marketing and marketing plans. And I've been shifting into focusing more on branding and developing a brand strategy, brand positioning, and all of that fun stuff that I love doing. And also, you know, for going where I want to go professionally is so have more of those branding clients and what I call my gold star clients. And those are the clients who do the homework, they're engaged, they take part in the process, and we're actually able to get better results when they, you know, stick with it. So more branding and gold star clients.
I love it. Anyone else from one of the other groups want to share? So how many groups did we have, Will?
We had 4 groups, I believe.
Okay, we have 2 more opportunities.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, my group was me, my sister Lee, and Judy. We got a little sidetracked. So, you know, we talked about how we feel about the sun and some of the things that we say are important to us. And we talked about friends and family. We talked about some business, but I can't actually say we didn't get very far down the list, did we, Judy? Oh, well.
What about the last group? Who was that group? That would be James.
We also didn't get very far. You disappeared on us and we were a little concerned. We thought maybe you were coming back, I think, and we got sidetracked.
You got sidetracked talking about the snails. What's the word? What do we call them?
Well, we got past the snails to COVID.
COVID.
Yes. And getting the vaccine. So we went sideways. Sorry.
Ways. I'm like, wait a minute. My questions didn't draw you in to properly reflect on your vision and where you wanted to go this year.
It was yes. We needed more time.
You needed more time. Okay. Well, we're going to go back to the presentation. One of the things that really happens when we focus on our strengths, the things that we do best and enjoy the most at work, we will find a boost in our overall engagement, happiness, performance, and results. You know, I consider myself a multi-hyphenate, and I have always enjoyed doing multiple things. In fact, when I worked in corporate, I was in sales, and when people ask me what I enjoyed about my job, I always said, oh, it's the variety that, you know, I'm calling on customers, I'm doing presentations, I get to put together decks. So variety is extremely important to me, and it allows me to thrive, but there can be too much variety. We can be pulled in too many different directions, and that really can start to hinder our engagement and our performance and our results. So as we think about our vision for our businesses, we have to remember that we can't be all things to all people. And just because someone suggests things, like I know I'm always suggesting things to Lori for OffiCenters, but she's like, this is not true to our brand, and this is not true to the vision that I hold for the business. And yes, I respect you, Jasmine. And I always admire when she's able to say, no, that does not align with the vision, and it does not align with the brand. So I want you to keep that in mind, because I know that was a theme that popped up in a couple of the rooms that I popped into. The idea that people were always, and Robert spoke to that, saying, well, have you tried this? People wanting to impose their tweaks on your vision for your business. So the process, which you're not going to make a board today, but maybe someone will win the vision board session for me, is really the reflection, which is what we're focusing on today. And then the opportunity to create the board, display your board, take daily action. And most important, and I think this is where people fail when creating a vision for the year, is they fail to update it. You know, I have been taking the time every single week this year to reflect on my wins. You know, I look at my goals that I've outlined for the year and what I want to achieve, and then I jot down what were my wins or where do I need to make adjustments. So I'm holding myself accountable, and not only am I holding myself accountable, I'm updating consistently. I'm consistently updating by adding, editing, and deleting through the reflection process, which is so important. So we're gonna do another reflection exercise. This is not in your workbook, but when you think about your business, I want you to think about your 5 top strengths of your business. And everybody take a piece of paper and jot those down right now. Your top 5 strengths to your business. Yeah, thank you. So how did it feel to think about your business objectives by focusing on your strengths? Is this a new concept for most people, or anyone? Or have you been thinking about your vision and objectives this way? Judy, I'm going to ask you, how did this process feel?
Well, I think for most of us, it's much easier to approach our business from our strengths. I invited some feedback yesterday from a new connection of mine on 1 or 2 pieces of feedback where I could be better. That was an extremely painful process. So I think for most of us, it's much easier to come up with the strengths in our business than the areas of opportunity.
Really? Okay. Interesting. And have you been looking at growing your business and your objectives from your strengths?
Yes, in terms of really knowing my process and knowing, Connie refers to it as a gold star client. I call it my ideal client, same type of concept. So yes, I think it's much easier to get referrals from those clients, to grow the business, expand the business when you do that.
Exactly. Eric, what did you identify as one of your strength goals for this year?
Well, I had a hard time actually distinguishing between my strengths, because I have the strength finders, you know, Gallup strength finders. I know what my strengths are, but how does that, I have a business and a product. So I wasn't really sure which way to build it out. I ended up putting together what I think are the 5 strengths of the business, which really means the product that we've put together.
And that's what you should be looking at it for your business for the year. But so many of us are, you know, consultants, so our brands are a huge part of our business. But
right. No,
physical, external.
I understand. Yeah. So it's a little bit different, but so I have 5 strengths there: is collaboration, capturing, sharing, and preserving family stories, providing privacy and security, bringing family closer together emotionally, and then creating joy are things that we are observing today. And then the goal for the business this year is really to do all the things that are needed to start generating revenue by the end of the year. There's a lot that has to happen in there. It's not just one thing, but that's our overriding goal.
I'm excited to learn more about your business. I was introduced to a product called Tribute, and your product sounds like it's something similar.
Okay.
Connect with you offline.
Sure, I'd love that.
In that comparison, but anyone else? Dennis. Oh, we can't hear you, Dennis.
He was having problems with his mic earlier. Maybe that's what's.
Can you hear me, Jasmine?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I finally got through. I guess I didn't quite understand the question, but because I got more personal than I did from a business level.
Right.
And I guess you got to know yourself before you really know your business. And you have to be able to organize that particular part of it. So I started listing personality traits and knowledge and honesty and just getting to know people better and being a better listener. So I was referring more to my personal aspect of what would help as far as my business side of it is concerned. I think if I've got myself ready in my head, then my business will be a lot better also.
Well, I think that's one of the most important nuggets, Dennis, is that we have to be introspective enough to know who we are, what we want, and what we excel at, and then bring that to our business, especially when our business is one of a consultative manner or service oriented, where we are at the core of our business. But I know Peggy and Eric and Lori and the ladies, I could be, and Amy, they actually do have physical products, but still at the same time, people buy into what presence and energy and brand they're selling before they actually buy the physical product.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So we have to be, I always say everything that we do, it begins in the mind. So we have to have that alignment of what do we want, how are we showing up, and how are we going to go after it? And then it will show up externally.
Good.
Anyone else want to share?
Just real quick, it got me thinking that just listing the 5 strengths, it's something I don't even really focus on in my own branding. Yikes. So for my goal, it's going to be to focus on that and to try to write, going back to Judy's awesome presentation, try to write a story about each of the strengths and see where that gets me, but a really great exercise.
And, to build upon Judy's exercise of a story of the strengths, and then also her experience yesterday in receiving the feedback. And we will always receive feedback that we don't want to, that we're like, oh, that was a little harsh and it hurt the ego a little bit. But I always say that we need that experience to grow. But when you listen to that feedback and it doesn't pertain to your strengths, you should actually think, is there an opportunity for me to collaborate? Is this an opportunity for me to outsource something because I wasn't performing or playing to my strengths? I wasn't leveraging my strengths. I used to think that I was a creative person, and it would take me forever to do decks. And I love to present and I love to talk. And then I was like, you know what, Jasmine, you really need to find someone that can elevate your deck, because that's a hindrance. That's a reflection of you, and you're doing an okay job, but something's getting lost in translation. So do we have anyone else that wants to share before we go into our final thoughts?
I've got a couple comments for you.
Yes.
So I have been listening to this, even though I haven't had my video on, and this is great material. And one thing that I've been doing in my business, I'm a real estate broker, but I also teach relationship marketing to literally our global agency with EXP. And the thing that I love about this is the focusing on strengths part of it. I have been the real estate broker for 30 years and I have gotten comfortable in my business. And I think I have forgotten the fact that you do need to really focus on your core strengths of who you are and what you're about, and then be able to let people know what those are. Where I've kind of gotten into the whole day-to-day, how am I getting more business? How am I taking care of my clients and all that kind of stuff? So I just appreciate this message on kind of taking a step back and saying, okay, you know, why do I do what I do? What are the strengths that I'm bringing to myself and to my clients? So I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go back to our slides. So next steps, if we were to be for you to create a board, but hopefully 2 people are going to win a session with me and have the opportunity to create a vision board. I want to leave you with this final thought, that we don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. We just have to be willing to take the next step. And I think I say that we are like impressionist paintings, especially with our businesses. And I think that's one thing that we really have learned over the past 12 months, is that sometimes this how that we have in our mind does not translate to reality. So if we are willing to take daily action and recognize that I don't hold the key to everything, which is kind of hard, especially for type A personalities, which most entrepreneurs are. We like a lot of control. If we're willing to allow or accept that it's okay for us not to have it all figured out, but we have a plan in place, we have a vision in place, and we're working and leveraging our strengths, and we're going to continue to take action, we will achieve our goals. So remember that. You don't have to have it all figured out. And that's probably contrary to most business advice you receive, that you got to have it all figured out. What's your plan? You know, what are your measurements? What are you tracking to? I believe that you should have a vision, you should have goals, and a plan to reach it, but it doesn't have to be concrete. And it really should not be concrete, because you missed opportunities. So thank you. Are there any other questions?
Not really a question, just an observation. I think this exercise was really interesting, and I love how OffiCenters has lined us all, each of the these presentations up in the whole branding scheme, starting with Judy and doing that phenomenal kickoff to this, and you bringing in this portion of it, Jasmine, is just really starting to put all those pieces together. I think because there is such a misconception of, oh, this is what branding is, this is what, you know, XYZ. So thank you for the exercise. You certainly made me think about, especially the strengths aspect. Judy, I love the fact that you had already, you know, run your thought process that way, but it certainly made me think, especially having, you know, a product and then also me as part of that. So thank you, Jasmine. This is
one of the things I was going to say too is that it's really different, because at OffiCenters, when we have 20 people or so working for us, that we have to think about what our team has as a strength, you know, and that entity becomes, you know, what we can do to make something more powerful, and what I should be sitting down with to talk about, not just for what I want for myself and my business, but what I want for the whole team. So, you know, that's another piece of it too, that when you have other people working with you. So the one thing I was going to tell you is this is the second part of our series. Judy's talk from last month is available on YouTube. If you would like to request that, you know, please put something in the chat box and Will can put something together for us. I just can't thank you enough, Jasmine. It's been a very interesting morning, of course, as it always is when I'm in your company and in the company of others. Maybe you'll see Jasmine in your living room, because she's a lifestyle expert on WCCO Channel 4. One morning I came in, I thought I heard my friend, and there she was on the television screen. So, you know, as you see her today, you may find her entering your homes at some point as well. One of the things that we're going to do is next month's speakers are going to be a team of marketing mavens. I'm calling my Judy, Connie. It's Connie and Amy are going to be together tag teaming. And I just thought maybe you could give us a little quick presentation. And I see Kathy Paper snuck in here. She's going to be one of our presenters. Nate, who is in our, Nathan Keach from last month, is going to be a presenter. So we've got some great members of Office Centers who are going to come and share their information as we all take branding more seriously this year. Amy and Connie, you want to give us a brief intro about what next month's March PowerLunch is going to look like?
Yes, I would, and Amy, please chime in. But what we've realized is that from the marketing standpoint, our services are very complementary. She's very visual, I'm more strategic and online and whatever. But what we've also come to realize is that especially since COVID, we have to work harder at building relationships. And what I've been telling my branding clients, what that means is that we need to bring more of you into it. Your personal branding, your uniqueness, you know? So for Amy, if I'm looking at her website, I want to bring more of her personality into it. Her fun, energetic, bold but stylish, very stylish appearance. You know, she's, I swear to God, got the best photographers in the world, you know. But so it's more about bringing some of that in, more of our own isms. I say awesome a lot, so I want to use some of that kind of language in my content. Use some bad grammar, but as long as it sounds like you, and we're bringing you into it. So we're focusing on that from not only how we communicate online, but how we communicate on video and what that looks like. Amy, take it away.
Well, it really is about understanding what story we're telling visually, because 93% of all communication transmitted to the human brain is actually visual. So when we first pop up on the, I'll call it Brady Bunch screen that we're all kind of in, somebody else referred to it as, there's the game show, Hollywood Squares or something, I don't know, type of thing. But when we pop up on these, people are making, they're identifying us through visuals before they ever hear us utter a word. So it's really about telling the story of your brand visually and complementing that with how Connie works with her clients and all that. So we have a lot of fun things, a lot of impactful and easy to take away, and real hands-on, get her done, move on, and be just ready to own your space, whether you're, you know, in the little Brady Bunch square or you're in person. So,
and we're looking for, you know, an active conversation. We'll each be talking from our own perspectives, but we like the conversation, you know, ask questions back and forth and that kind of thing. We don't have a formal presentation. It's more candid conversation with Amy and I and our participants. So we're really looking forward to it. We're also working on our own and each other's brands throughout the year. So we hope to do continuing videos and use our own brands as examples as we progress.
Well, thanks, ladies. We're looking forward to next month. And what's the date on that, Will? March?
25th.
March 25th. Yep. Well, you'll be there, same time, same channel. We'll be there. We'll be going on at noon. You can register now on our website, or we'll be sending out some things in This Week at Office Centers in our newsletter. I love, Tony, I love your background. You're doing a lot with your branding right there, and it really stands out, that's for sure. The one thing I wanted to say as we're getting close to noon is just to thank you. Next week we have networking on Thursday morning. That's our park networking. It's from 9 to 10. All of you are invited to attend. I think that we'll put together some really fun things for our last networking group. And we talked about some of the things last week was, you know, like what was our first job, and some of the things where we get to know each other a little bit better and find out what kinds of things we bring to the table, given our backgrounds and some of our passions and some of our likes and dislikes. So hopefully we'll be having a great conversation about that if you join us for just our networking, where you can really showcase your business. Everybody will get that opportunity, and there will be some prizes involved. We've had some great lively sessions. And I hope to see you on Thursday morning. In the meantime, is there anything else that we need to cover, Will?
Before we leave, I think we need to announce our winners. I think
it's going to be, it should be one winner, and then that person gets to bring a friend with. So how many, is everybody, just if I could get a show of hands as to how many people are Office Center members?
Yay!
All right. And I did a random number generator. And the winner is Charles. So Charles, you won a session with Jasmine, and I think it's for 2 people, so you get to bring someone with, correct, Jasmine?
Correct, Charles. I look forward to chatting with you. I'll make sure you get my contact information. All right.
Oh, good, thanks.
That'll be good. I think that that kind of wraps up for the day. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your participation. Judy, we all showed up today, didn't we? Better, yes. I'm saying, you know, part of what she was telling us last time is how you're going to show up to all of these different opportunities. Put it in your head that what you're going to take away, what are we going to see? And I think that today we had a lot of people really show up and enjoy the presentation. Jasmine, thank you so much. I'll be talking to you real soon. All my friends from Office Centers, thank you all, because what I wrote as one of our strengths is just our community engagement. How you've helped my business, how we help one another's business is really one of Office Centers' greatest strengths, and we prove that today by just being able to have these great conversations about how all of us are going to help our businesses. So thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Lori.
Bye-bye
Everybody.
now. Love you too, Jude. Bye-bye.